Hello, and welcome to the Arcanum House channel and the Awakening Chronicle. I am Hal Case, your host, and the storyteller of this chronicle. Awakening is a long-running campaign of the tabletop role-playing games Werewolf the Apocalypse and Mage the Ascension, set in the world of darkness. We are still experimenting, exploring techniques for online play. This is a learning experience. What follows is a solo scene, a direct sequel to our recent solo chapter, Home, and stars Michael Castillo, continuing his role as Gabriel. And now, let's tell a story about werewolves. Hello everybody, my name is Hal Case. I'm the storyteller of the Awakening Chronicle, of World of Darkness, or Werewolf the Apocalypse, and Mage the Ascension. And with me is Eric tonight, who will go up and introduce himself. And then we can do an intro and jump into this. Mike, introduce yourself.
Hello everybody. Again, my name is Michael. I go ahead and play a Uktena Ragabash by the name of Gabriel Dreams of Harmony. Currently, he's going through a lot, as we were talking about. He might have some Hirano going on, but well, we're seeing if we can pull something out here.
Thank you very much. And Gabriel, for those that may have caught our last chapter, is in Brazil, the land of his home, of his birth. He's been in the United States and traveled around the world for a long time, but he's temporarily departed his pack and he's gone to Brazil. And the last time he was in the headquarters of DFG, which was the logging company that was at the focal point of the guerrillas of war in the Amazon. He visited their abandoned headquarters and encountered a Baron, a Bastet, the jaguar, by the name of who is now accompanying him and escorting him to visit Ranch Apocalypse, which was the forward operating base that the guerrillas used for their attacks on the DFG headquarters. It's the day after the piracy, so that's where we need to pick up. And so, Gabriel, it's been a day for you. Would you care to give me a bit of a snapshot of where he and his headspace are and what his demeanor, what he's doing right now as he's going through the rainforest?
Well, with Gabriel right now, he's definitely going through a lot. As the long night passed and the animals chirped and never really ceaselessly made noise the whole way through, and obviously with the observation from this other individual who's at his side, it kind of feels like he shouldn't feel lonely, but at the end of the day, he is. It feels like he's surrounded by life. And in many ways, as a Garu, you kind of come to the impression that Gaia is there with you. But he doesn't really feel Gaia through him right now. He feels very much through what he's seen yesterday, the day prior, that there are some atrocities that are almost unmentionable. And it hurts him to contemplate that it's very much a both sides thing. The loss of life is tragic and terrible, and he sees people giving up everything for material items, which is very much antithetical to what he grew up with. And yet, as he's come to understand it, both people look at this as a situation where, we both came out on top. We're both winners in our own respective ways. It's pathetic and pitiful, and he does not envy anybody who participated in this effort. And so now going towards this other site, where there's definitely more atrocities to be seen, he laid at night looking at at like the overhead and the brief glimpse of the stars between the brush, and he wonders what that means in like a train of thought fashion, positing his theories based on what he's read. He ponders what his pack is doing. Are they okay? Are they safe? And he posits whether he'll come back, whether he deserves to come back. despite the conversation he had with Eel a few days prior.
Speaking of,
Suffice it to say, mhm.
he did not get a nocturnal visitor in the form of an owl last night.
Which he would have noticed, and in many ways that's what he wanted, but also sometimes you crave things that you don't want.
Yeah, yeah. He had asked her to give him some space, and so she did. And now he's existing where he's been given that space.
Hmm.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So I assume daybreak comes sooner or
Mm-hmm.
later. I feel like he feels as rested as he can be. He's always been a little bit of an early waker. So realistically, probably maybe at max about 3 hours of sleep, which is about right.
Okay.
Um, with that said, his goods are all packed. As he's like halfway through a Pop Tart. Um, I assume he's just kind of waiting for if she's awake or if not.
Eileen wakes up. She's a light sleeper. A cat may sleep a lot, but they also wake up quick. And
Sure do.
so she is up and about, and she has her double checks her gear, makes sure that her machete is in place on her belt on her hip.
Hmm.
She's a sleek creature, graceful, and
Hmm.
still has some of those tattoos, and uh, definitely is a creature of the jungle. Though she has some modern equipment, she's clearly at home here.
Hmm.
And this rainforest is her domain.
Hmm.
Whether this area is specifically her territory is not clear, but she clearly knows this area and has been
Hmm.
through. And she gestures on, says, "Are you ready, Dreams of Harmony?"
He kind of says, "Ready as I'll ever be." What do we got? Another 3 treks through sludge, mud, crawling on the floors, jumping through vines. What's up?
More or less. We will be traveling through the jungle toward Ranch Apocalypse. We will be crossing streams and passing through the rainforest. It is rough terrain. The uh, the guru did not want the worm men to reach them easily, especially when they could cross the jungles on 4 legs. It is rough going, but it is doable. It's no
Sounds like
problem
my
for
idea
me.
of a good time. Reefs, you there?
If you knew the way, you wouldn't be with me. She shifts
Uh,
into her jaguar form and takes off into the rainforest while he's going.
I locate her. I just say, yeah, I always know where she is, so I'll just follow.
Okay, very good. And it is hours. We are in the tail end of the rainy season. So while it's not, there's not like a heavy rain going on at the moment, thank goodness, there is that constant, oppressive, low grade drizzle.
Hmm.
And so everything is wet. Everything is misty. Everything, the ground squelches. There's always a drip. And it's warm, but it's not oppressively hot today.
Hmm.
But there's definitely, some sweating and so on in it. But it's not, this is your homeland. We've been in a very mild climate for a while, but you're
Hmm.
adapting back to it again.
Right.
It's definitely a lot wetter than LA. And you travel for hours through the rainforest, and the sun is well up. You had traveled for a fair chunk of yesterday as well, but now it's heading on toward, must be around 10 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
and you are traveling through the jungle, and you arrive, and you've been noticing the jungle it's still just not right here. There's a heaviness in the air. It doesn't taste quite right. You see some of the foliage is still maybe cancerous or blighted, but some of it looks okay as well. It's a mixture, but there's something clearly wrong in the land. And you arrive, as you're traveling through the jungle, at a narrow, kind of fetid tributary river that leads toward and that cuts off from the Rio Negro. And Aline stops and sniffs at the air and shifts back to her Hamid form, since you don't speak cat. And she doesn't speak wolf.
Who says I don't? I do have speech of the world.
It's true, but that's human languages, though.
Dang.
Or at least, human appropriate languages. It wouldn't necessarily pick up all the nuances of a jaguar. That would be beast speech.
Ah, I see.
But she points up past this tributary and says, "This will take us toward Ranch Apocalypse. If we follow this stream on the other side." And the water, the air here is thick. It's cloying. It's sticky. It's the rain is picked up just a little, and there's a little bit of a mist still along the ground.
Sure.
And the water has a foul smell about it. You can see runoff in it, and it's dark. And of course, it's leading into the Rio Negro, which is dark anyway. But it like some oiliness to it, and so on. And Aline begins making her way up the bank of the stream. One moment. Looks like my cat hit a remote. Turn the TV on.
Yeah, I saw that turn on.
1 second. One of them was sat down on a remote. Turned on.
That's so funny. Cute cat.
Oh yeah, that's Tabitha. Okay. I was saying that's right, because Aline was heading up along the
Riverbank, right?
The riverbank, yeah. And you're even in lupus form. You're ducking under some vines and things here and there, and a paw getting in the brackish water.
Ew.
And comes up not smelling great. And Aline, after a while, she stops at the edge and shakes the backs a little bit, and then pounces across to the other side. It's a pretty good sized jump, but you think you could make it too.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks back for you, and you notice, as you're getting ready to jump after her, that the water there's like an eddy forming, almost a little like mini whirlpool, like a swirl, a current happening in the water in between you.
Mm-hmm.
And you see bits of detritus circling in the water. And in, a bit of the water rises up, almost like a tentacle, and pivots and forms into, it looks something like a kind of abstracted head of an anaconda, a big snake almost. It's not quite detailed enough to really be identifiable as a snake, but it's along those lines.
Mhm.
And it's made up of this black, slightly oily, tainted water as it's looking in your direction. And you can see there's like some bits of rotting vegetable matter and other things that are in the water that makes this thing up. And it regards you. Kind of, it quavers there for a moment. It doesn't immediately attack. It's almost like it's deciding what to do. And what do you do?
I'm still in lupus form, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're currently in your lupus form, which, for those of our viewers that may not be aware, is the form of a guara. It's not a European or a North American wolf, but a distant relative, a canine from the plains of Brazil, the maned wolf. It looks kind of like a very large fox on stilts.
Hmm. He's a foxy boy. Um, and as for my compatriot, is she ahead or is
Yeah,
she?
she is on the opposite side of the stream from you now. So this thing is in between you. Its back is to, if it has a back, is to her,
So,
but it's facing you, and she's kind of crouching, watching, as if trying to determine, whether it's fight or flee or what.
hmm. I guess my initial thought is to analyze it.
Mm-hmm.
I presume this is some sort of based on the location, some sort of bane or a manifestation of a bane, but I'm not too sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, could I potentially do like some sort of int plus occult or int
Sure.
plus rituals
You
to
could
determine what
use
it is?
intelligence plus occult.
Uh-huh.
If you happen to have worm lore, you could use that for -1 difficulty. I don't think you have that lore separately though.
I don't.
Intelligence plus occult should do the job. Or if your cosmology is better, you could try that.
Nah, my occult's better.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll roll that then.
I'll say that's difficulty 7.
Difficulty 7. Let's see. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think creative logic as my specialty would apply here.
Nah, that wouldn't apply in this case.
Yeah.
That's for looking for solutions
Hmm.
rather than analyzing what a creature is.
2 successes.
2 successes? Okay. With
Mhm.
2 successes, I'll give you two pieces of information. One of them is you're pretty sure that this is a materialized spirit after all. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely some kind of water elemental.
Mm.
It it's hard to tell, but you would expect that if this was a full-blown bane, it
Mm-hmm.
would be even more corrupt looking than it is. If it
Whereas we
was,
take it more of like a nature kind of
right,
vibe.
it might be more like a nature spirit that's become tainted rather than having fully become a bane.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that does not necessarily mean that it's friendly or
It does not at
sane,
all.
but you don't think it's what would be called a wakshani, which would be a full toxin elemental of the worm.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly toxic on some level, but you're not
Right.
convinced that it's an actual bane. But it's definitely materialized in the physical world. You know, the gauntlet is very thin here, so it's easy for a spirit to appear in the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
it is not attacked yet. It's hesitating. It's kind of swaying
It's
a little
wary.
bit, yeah.
Um.
But it's definitely like right in between you and Eileen.
Okay, so then with that knowledge, knowing what I know, I am. I don't know if I did this, but I'll make sure persuasion is running.
Okay,
So can I roll that now?
sure. You can roll to set it up. There's that moment of
Charisma.
pausing, and you can always do that.
Yeah. Subterfuge. So that's charisma plus subterfuge, if I
Mhm.
recall.
Manipulation plus subterfuge.
Oh, manipulation plus subterfuge. Okay. Well, I'm a lupus. My manip is 0.
We'd use your Hamid version in this case, because it's just setting up the gift.
All right. So
I think that'd be an odd rule interaction.
yeah. What's the difficulty on this?
I believe it is 8. Yeah, it's actually relatively high difficulty, but it lasts for a
7.
whole scene. Oh, what's that?
Okay. On my notes, I have 7.
That's right. You're right.
All right, that's 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So it's active. So you'll have -1 difficulty for any social rolls you'll make for the balance of the scene. And they have a vaguely defined greater effect per success.
Okay. So that said, I'm gonna use my spirit speech.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go ahead and calmly address it.
Mm-hmm.
And say something along the line. But what I want to communicate to it is, worry not, we won't be here long. Just traveling up the bank to see what has been left behind, and we will depart, leaving nothing behind.
It sways and there's like a ripple goes through its watery surface. It kind of shudders. And it says, and it speaks to you in the language of the spirits. The river remembers. Give me a story of blood, of betrayal, or sacrifice. Not your fight, theirs. Let the river remember. And it kind of ripples again. Almost as if it's like physical integrity is uncertain.
The request of story. Is that my understanding that right?
It said, give it a story of blood, of betrayal, or sacrifice, but not your fight, theirs.
Sacrifice. Oh God, I wish I should have read War on the Amazon. Damn. Barely remembered the general's name.
Gogol Fangs-First was
Gogol
the
Fangs-First.
legendary Arun of the Gate of Fenris who led the Guru in this invasion.
If that's the case, then I'd like to recount what I understand from like the spoken lore about the war in the Amazon.
Okay.
About how Gogol repeatedly led his troops upon the walls of the fort, bringing with him death and destruction, and making incredibly reckless invasions where his troops were basically sent to die. their blood seeping into the ground, which led into the river, into the underground water routes that ultimately drained into the river that traveled down. I make mention of the loathing, the hatred, and all of the remaining sentiments that I got from that could be sensed in the air that is being breathed, which recaptures itself back into the river. Or the emotions run deep, just as the river does.
Did that one die? Tell the river of one who died. The river would remember. Is it swaying back and forth like that?
I love that cat. Look at her.
Tabby. We're going to pick up her purring on the mic. This is the same one that hit the remote.
Look at her. Adorable. Now it says it wants a story of someone who died.
Well, it asked if Golgol died, and then it said, did he die? And then tell the river a story of one who died that it may remember.
I recall Gogol did die, right?
As far as you're aware, you haven't heard any stories of his exploits after.
Then, yeah, I'll make clear to him that Gogol did die. Gogol passed. Though he is remembered as a hero, and many look to him as such, the vast majority of the world can remember him as someone whose recklessness, his aggression, and his desire for honor and success guard the river much and the earth itself much more than any others could remember.
The river remembers the rage. The river remembers the blood. The river remembers the poison. The river will remember. Spirits born in purity don't forget who drowned them. Be careful what you feed the spirits. I remember white bones sinking that have no names. Once I flowed clean, now I carry things that whisper.
Is there aught else you require of me, Spirit?
I will not stop you. Remember as the river does. But beware at the place of the mud, or your bones will be in the river. And it then, splashes down into the water again and vanishes.
I bring my head down and I let those words run through my brain just to go ahead and honor the Spirit's request. For as depraved and as awful as its current nature is, it once was a spirit of purity from my homeland. And as he said, I will not forget what I see today. I look back towards my companion and then I kind of motion forward.
So she then turns and, her ears are back after encountering that spirit. But she turns and continues up her side of the stream bed. And you hop across and follow?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You can make that jump. I'm not going to make you roll dice for that. We only roll dice when either a success or failure can both be interesting. Okay, now, so you continue along the way through this with that tainted spirit's words in your mind. You continue along the way. You start noticing, that the jungle is getting worse. The river is getting worse as you go. And you observe up ahead in one of the trees, there's actually hanging in the vines. You see what looks like, it definitely is, in fact. You see, there's like a human body hanging in the vines. Now that can't be as old as the battle from before. That was years ago. And this body would have been picked over by, carrion eaters long ago. But it's tangled in the vines and hanging there. You can smell putrefaction from it. It's definitely rotting. Of course, it would start rotting pretty quickly in the rainforest anyway. But it still has enough integrity where it's holding together. But it's suspended there in the vines.
Is this body so far gone that I can't see like any distinct features?
Well, it still has a face, more or less. The eyes have been eaten by some kind of scavenger. But it's discolored. But your best guess is that it's indigenous.
Some poor fool who traveled too close.
Very possibly. And as you get close, there's a rustle in the wind, and it shifts and adjusts in the wind. But then you hear like a pop. And one of the arms pulls out of the vine that has tangled it. It like grabs at one of the other vines that's nearby. It looks like it starts in moving in a very jerky way, like struggling to get out of the vines. What does Gabriel do?
Kind of sighs. I mean, it's pretty clear that the nature of the environment, the hatred in the air, transforms even the dead, giving them no peace. So then, what he does, he'll shift from Lupus to Krenos.
Okay. When he shifts, and I'm not going to make you roll for that. When he shifts, the corpse, its jerky movements become more rapid, almost frenzied, as it's starting to trying to claw its way out of the vines that it's entangled in. And there's like a rattling sound, like it tries to vocalize, but there's nothing to vocalize with. And the tongue is gone or something, and like the death rattle sound, and like a hand scrabbling in your direction, but can't reach you from where it is.
Right.
Aline kind of crouches and backs away, and she shifts into her Krenos form also, and has her machete in hand.
As I see it getting more and more feverish and rabid, trying to steal or take me down, whether from hate or otherwise, I offer a prayer for the deceased,
Mhm.
which is odd coming from my mouth, as I feel like my disconnection to Gaia is so far yet so close.
Mhm.
So in Gaia's name, I grab Naya Senel and I throw it, hoping to end its life quickly.
Okay. Now the spiritually active tomahawk, the fetish that you carry, the weapon of your late packmate, it strikes the flailing corpse and splits the rotting skull, and the whole thing just kind of falls apart and rains down in the jungle into a heap. And then the parts twitch and shiver for a few moments, but then they stop. And there's like a sigh, and like a tainted cloud floats out of its mouth and disperses.
Do I get the impression that the soul stuck within has kind of returned back to the earth, or was it absorbed by the environment?
It's tough to say whether that was even the soul of the dead. It might have been a bane. Whatever was animating it is now gone, at least from the body.
I take my best impression.
Mm-hmm.
Again, wish for the best outcome, but knowing that that's very unlikely. Can I just check to see if there's more in the weights, or if that was the only one I can see?
Give me a perception plus alertness. I'll say difficulty 6.
Two successes.
Okay. You don't detect any more movements from anything like this nearby.
Okay.
If there are more, they're not in your immediate path.
That's it. I'll play it safe, and I'll keep Naya Senel in hand as we
Okay.
progress a little forward.
So you're going to remain in your war form.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing to remember about being in your war form, your rage, though it's not as strong as that of some guru, is still very close to the surface. It is a form for
Mm-hmm.
war. And so you feel particularly on edge. You're in a tainted place that feels wrong. And so
Right.
your rage is right there in the back of your throat, waiting to come out. But it is also
Sure.
a form that which you're much safer from the hazards of the jungle.
It's a mixed outcome.
Yes. But you can make your way through the jungles in this form, and you're equally capable on 4 legs and 2. So you can duck down and go into things, even though you're really big. You can still make your way around pretty well in the jungle.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially because you know this jungle. Although the Guará, that is your wolf form, are not native to the actual rainforest, they're more from the plains of Brazil. It's still a nimble-footed beast, and you know your way around this kind of environment.
Right.
And so you continue along this tainted riverbank, toward Ranch Apocalypse. After a while, Aline banks off away from that particular stream. There are thousands of streams and tributaries in these rainforests, and you're starting to get to where you can see in the distance. You can see posts in a few places, some scorched posts, and some burned trunks of trees through the jungle. Looks like there may be a clearing a ways ahead, where there may be the canopy may have a bit of a break up ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't see the sky too often here, but it looks like there's some sky a ways ahead here. And you've noticed although you are in the rainforest, the sound of insects is now gone. You don't hear the call or birds. It's the only sound that you're hearing consistently is your own footsteps, the soft breaths of yourself and Eileen, the little crunch of a bit of detritus under a paw, and the constant patter of the rain, and the little plops as it pools and runs in little rivulets down the animal trail you're walking on. Now Eileen, at this point, she turns back, and she's still in her Krynos form, and the whole time she's kind of had this, that little bit of a snarl. She's going through the jungle, testing the air with her nose, and sometimes having the checking with her, the sensory organs in her mouth to get further understanding of the smells. And she looks back and says in a rough approximation of the Portuguese that her actually of the indigenous language that you both understand. What she can manage in a beast form like this. Not far. And points a claw in that direction.
I just give her a nod, and I take that as an invitation to go forward.
Mm-hmm. In fact, she kind of gives a kind of a gracious.
I want so badly to do like a dainty, like, thank you as I move forward, but I don't know if that feels appropriate for the scene.
You can definitely smell rotting vegetation now. And chemicals. And you get to an area that, as you're going to where there's a bit of a marshy area you come up to. It's not quite mud here, but there's some area where maybe it's just because the water has pooled from the rain. It's flowing. It's kind of a bit of a puddle up here. And as you get near it, you notice that beyond, in the jungle, you're starting to see there's a kind of a little bit of a dip in the land, and it's starting to get thicker and muddier. And you're starting to see some remnants of what might have been the ranch site. Now, the stuff has grown around a lot of it now, but you can see where there are some posts of what used to be cabins or tents. It's badly damaged. It's hard to tell exactly what it was. But you start to see signs of what used to be habitation here. You can see part of a tumble down, collapsed palisade, like a fence. There's some kind of defensive setup that was there and is now gone, or at least gone from any useful function. But this clearly is, you're getting to where you're getting close to, you can actually have visual on part of what was Ranch Apocalypse. the ground is starting to suck as you walk. Whenever you're walking on ground, sometimes you're on bits of puddle, sometimes it's in bits of mud. Sometimes you're walking on the roots of a decaying tree, or a scorched fallen piece of wood, and so on. What is Gabriel doing now?
The only sound coming through my ears being the sound of footsteps of my own design, and the sound of water and puddle as the earth tries to swallow me back into it. Trepidatiously,
Mm-hmm.
afraid of what I might see,
Mm-hmm.
I take every step forward, willing myself, almost as if I have to use my own willpower to push myself further and further. The distance between the actual camp and me growing shorter with every step. I keep my ears perked for my compatriot, wondering, is she moving it with me or is she staying behind? Hoping beyond hope that I'm not going into this alone,
Okay.
but also not feeling confident that she's going.
Do you look back and check?
Part of me wants to, but there's that fear that the moment I confirm it with my own eyes, it becomes real.
So you're just
I
kind of like
prepare myself for
imagining.
disappointment.
Got it.
If I prepare myself for disappointment, because if I'm prepared, then I'm better emotionally capable of handling it. And if she's there, then I'm pleasantly surprised.
Got it. And those near silent paw pads are not helpful.
Absolutely not. A
As
lot of
the
things go through my brain, but the thing that comes to mind is, am I actually ready to see history once again?
yes, as the anthropologist is starting to come out. Okay. As you're weighing these heavy thoughts, as you're padding through the jungle, with rain running down your snout, matting your fur, leaving you slick. Give me a perception plus primal urge. Difficulty 7.
Failure.
Okay.
Oh, I rolled a 10 and then a 1, so they cancel each other out,
I
right?
do see that, yes. Now, I'll give you an option here. You can take it as a simple failure, or you can take it as a succeed at a cost.
You know I'm going to go with the latter. I
Okay.
have to. That seems more interesting.
Okay, great. So now Gabriel, as he's walking here through this area, he is straining to hear anything other than the patter of the rain.
Maybe the sound of his own heartbeat in his ears.
That's right. As he passes by a area of where there's kind of a basin that's collected a lot of the mud. It's foul and smelling. He notices a gleam of something sticking slightly out of the mud. And he's standing on a branch, like kind of a big tree root, more really than a branch, over where the mud is, to cross over toward the body of the camp. And he notices this. A little bit of light gleams off of it. And then you hear, it's hard to tell whether it's a physical sound, but the moment your eyes catch that gleam, there is a wailing that erupts for just a moment from the mud. And your paws scrabble. You're startled and fall in.
Yeah.
And it's thick. It's up to your halfway up your leg, down in this sucking, stinking mud. But now you're down in there. Each step sucks, and you have to pull the paw out, and it's not quite like tar, but it's thick and it's vile. But just ahead of you, there is, about 5 feet ahead through this, you can make out a little bit of something that has that little gleam is still there in the muck.
I'll try to see if I can keep cool-headed here. Because I think the more you panic in these situations where the earth is consuming you, the worse it gets. You're fighting a losing battle. So I'll use what I know to kind of go ahead and like belly crawl my way out.
Okay. Are you staying in Krenos form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because though my weight might not be the best, I'd say the transformation is just worse.
That's
So
possibly true. You also have more reach this way.
exactly. So I'll just like use what I can and kind of see if I can like swim out of it. You know, like
Okay.
swim, like belly crawl swim out of it. Trying to not break surface tension,
Okay.
so to speak.
Okay.
And then hopefully with enough of that,
Mhm.
I'll be able to find myself in a more stable position.
Okay. Give me a dexterity plus survival. I'll say
That's
7. Difficulty.
30 plus survival. I'm gonna give myself. Yeah, you know what? Dexterity plus survival should be fine.
Don't forget your Krenos bonus and your dexterity.
Yeah. It said difficulty 7.
Mhm.
2 successes despite all that. Lamau.
Okay. All right. Now I have a question for you. As you're trying to get out of the muck, are you going toward where the gleam was, where there was clearly something in the mud, or are you just getting away?
I'd preferably like to go towards the gleam.
Okay.
And if I can get it
To grab
while
whatever
I'm
it is?
crawling,
Okay.
yeah. Can I use my specialty deft towards that to add a
Oh,
success?
absolutely. Absolutely. That applies.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So that would make it 3 successes then.
Okay, so 3 successes does the job. In fact, with the 3 successes, you can retrieve the object. You, as you're going, your big paw wraps around. You can feel for a moment bone, but then as you pull up, the bone, comes apart like rotting wood almost. But
Right.
you come away with something that is intact. It is a twisted braided thong in a loop. wrapped with some wire in it, and
Mhm.
there is at the end of it. It looks like a wolf fang,
Mm.
and as you hold this, it pulses faintly in your hand, almost like a dying heartbeat. And it's hooked over. It was hooked over that bone, but it was also hooked over a little bit over the. Looks like a root or a branch, but you're able to extract that as you wriggle and crawl and work your way out of the muck, back
Mhm.
onto something approaching solid ground.
Mhm.
And so now you're holding this thing. And it looks like a necklace with a wolf fang on it that somehow has survived being in the elements for probably years.
Considering how like someone's hand was out of the muck holding this, I presume it's almost like someone didn't want it to sink, like an effort to keep it above. I wouldn't know why, but that's the impression I'm getting, and that's like the feeling I'm getting.
Mm.
But also the same idea of a wolf fang necklace. Based on what I know amongst Garu, that's very unusual. They would only really do that maybe if it was like a remnant of a loved one or something of
Mm.
the sort, or like a pact or something of the
Mm-hmm.
sort. So I assume this was like a victory necklace that a soldier might have had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I killed this thing. I took one of its fangs as a trophy. But again, I can't really tell one way or another.
Mm.
But I do understand that there is a faint sense of like a heartbeat coming through, right?
Right. It's very faint, but that's what it feels like to you.
Mm, I suppose I'd like to do, as soon as I'm on solid ground,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, I have to do this. You know me, I have to do this. I just shake like a dog to get all the mud off. So I look all poofy and raggly.
And it's a lot of it's thick and sticky, but you can get a chunk of it off, and the rain helps some.
Ugh, get it off.
But
It's
so now you've
disgusting.
now you've got this. This looks like a necklace.
I spit. I'm like, some of it on my mouth. That's 1,000-year-old dead corpses and mud in my mouth.
Tasty,
Disgusting.
tasty.
Um, just to confirm my suspicions, I'd like to
Mm.
do like a sense magic check on it, which I
Okay,
believe is perception plus enigmas.
it is.
So what is that? 2 plus 2 is 4 for me. Okay. What would be the difficulties for this?
I'll say 6 in this
It is
case. It sometimes
6.
be higher, but the thing is in your hand, and it already emitted that sound. I'm giving you a difficulty 6 on this.
Alright. Hey, I botched it.
Did you now?
Lamau.
Oh, so you did. Lol Lamau. All right. So as you're trying to analyze this thing, you're holding it, and as you're doing that, once again, that horrible shriek erupts out of the necklace,
Mm.
sets you back, and leaves your ears ringing for a moment. There's only that hum as your hearing has been kind of lost for a moment at the sheer volume of this shriek that emitted from this necklace. Was it a shriek or was it a heavily distorted heartbeat? Something. It's just one of those very strange sensations. Whatever it was, it certainly set you back on your heels, and you find yourself disoriented. There's this way, and the sound was accompanied by a wave of agony. Not your physical pain, but agony emitting from the necklace, as if the necklace itself is in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few moments, your hearing returns. You can once more hear the patter, but there's still that little hum for a little bit. That little ringing sound.
I'm gonna take a risk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a dumb risk, and it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna pay off because dumb things pay off. They always pay off in strides.
Every time.
Sympathy is for the weak, and I'm a weak bitch. I am terrible. Don't ask me why I'm doing this. I'm just gonna do it. I look at it, and I get that sense of agony, that pain, that distraught, and I suppose this being one of the few things I'm seeing in this godforsaken land, right? Leaves me feeling some sort of way. So I kind of gently caress it with the pad of one of my hands, as if like trying to say it's gonna be okay. I say, in Gaia's name, hopefully you rest well. And like I said, this is the stupidest shit I'm gonna do, but I just get the impression that it's the right thing to do. I hold it in my hand and I decide to feed it one of my gnosis.
Okay. All right. In that case, as you do that, you do feel the necklace accept the offering of your essence. There is absolutely a spirit within this object. It is clearly, you can feel as you do this, that this is a fetish. And the fetish, or perhaps more importantly, the spirit within it, is in pain. But the heartbeat eases and goes quiet, and the wailing ceases. Now, there are some rustles off in the jungle somewhere, as if something may have heard that sound. But the necklace becomes quiescent as you engage with it spiritually.
Knowing that its pain is at least diminished for a little bit. I don't know why I'm gonna do this. This is terrible. I'm a sympathetic bitch. I grab it and I wrap it around my neck.
Okay, you put the necklace on. All right.
Like a dog tag, I guess, is the way I look at it.
Okay. When you do that, there is a sudden cloudburst as the rain just pours down upon you and washes the muck and the mud from your body. For a good 10 seconds, just standing there with just this torrential rain coming down. And then it goes back to that soft patter again. You are washed clean, more or less. And the necklace is now quiet.
And I put my hand over for a second, and then I turn my attention back to my surroundings just to make sure that I don't need to rush into a battle. One thing to another. That's the impression I'm getting. So I'd like to just, again, check to see if anything has departed the brush, the surroundings, etc.
Okay. Looking at the thing also, you notice something. On one side of the, there on each side of the wolf fang, there is a small glyph in the Guru Arnharm language. On one side is, in fact, the glyph of the horned serpent, the patron spirit of your tribe. Hmm. Known by different names in different cultures, but wherever he is, he's the horned serpent.
Mhm.
And but yeah, again to the tribes of the American Northeast, he'd be Ictuna. The On the other side, you see it looks like the character for Storm and the character for Root of a tree
Mm.
are carved on the wolf fang.
Interesting. I'll have to commune with this later today to kind of see how I should handle it.
And of course, there still are the sounds. It sounds that there's something approaching through the brush, maybe more than one something that may have been alerted by the hubbub.
I'll take the precaution
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just go ahead and use blissful ignorance.
Okay, to go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's percept plus alertness, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, no, that was actually
Oh,
that's
stand plus stealth. My bad.
yeah, because it's a stealth. It's not a seeking out thing.
Yeah.
And the difficulty in that roll is 7. Is the standard. It's Dex plus stealth. And each success would subtract 1 from any perception plus alertness rolls for anybody looking for you. Is how that operates.
3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. I'm going to make a roll here for what's coming through the forest.
I'm rolling under average today. What the hell?
It's because you're with me.
Ugh.
I have, the jungle, the taint of the jungle has corrupted your dice. Okay. 2 successes. So you have a margin of 1. So you remain there still and invisible in the rainforest. And you don't see Aline anywhere. Perhaps she's taken some other similar action to remain concealed.
Mhm.
Or she's not there anymore, for all you know. But coming through the rainforest, and you see something, a ghoulish figure, vaguely humanoid, with long, grasping, clawed fingers. And there's actually a pack of them. There's 3 or 4 of these, kind of loping through, weaving as they move, and with gums that are pulled back. They kind of human-like faces, but the teeth are too long, the eyes are too small. Like I said, the gums are peeled back. You can see all along his face, and there's blood and bits of meat in the mouth and stuck in the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Rotting carrion, and the smell is oppressive. And their skin is separated with sores. And they pad through the area, chattering to each other. And after a while, they pass you by. A long claw almost touches you, and just by chance, but doesn't quite. And then they look at each other, and they fade away, most likely returning to the Umbra.
Mm.
Those would almost
I
certainly be Banes.
Yeah. As soon as I feel like it's been a sufficient amount of time, using best judgment,
Mm-hmm.
uh, moving drops blissful ignorance, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll drop it
Mm-hmm.
and just say, and I'll take an extra precaution and just pop Blur of the Milky Eye from now on. I should have from the beginning.
One would think. I was wondering when you're going to do that.
Like I should probably do this. This is important. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. It's manipulation plus stealth, difficulty 8.
Yep. Since I'm in Krenos, gonna be stealth for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I think that manipulation penalty is really for social roles involving people. I'm not going to penalize something
Okay.
like Blur the Milky Eye for that. I think that's ridiculous.
So then I'll just take my homage roll.
Yeah. Your Hamid manipulation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a weird restriction that I think it really is about interacting with people.
That makes sense. Hey, one, let's go.
Well, it
I
will.
am rolling terribly. Teehee.
Well,
Um,
the same thing happened to Aaron when he was doing the monkey scene. So the dice hated him so much.
that's terrible. It's I promise you, viewers, I don't actually roll this bad. Um, I don't know what's happening today. Oh well.
Well, a
Uh,
W is still a W.
I will take it. So you see as Gabriel goes ahead and starts turning into a little bit of a shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a perfect shimmer. Probably kind of unnerved by what just occurred.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be able to see like the droplets of rain kind of passing through, or like bouncing off my body because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't make me transparent, but it does.
It breaks
It
up your
does kind of
outline.
breaks up my outline a little bit, but it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And to the unobservant, they won't notice me. Um, and knowing what's happening, I take a little more of a cautious approach
Mm-hmm.
as I move my way through. Like a little bit more crouched down, careful of
Mm-hmm.
every footstep, trying not to fall into any puddles or nonsense again.
Okay.
Um, Making my way closer towards the eponymous camp.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, so carrying the now quiescent necklace, you make your way through the jungle, and you reach an area where a bit of fallen palisade provides you some solid purchase for your paws, where you're not actually standing in muck or puddles or whatever. And you can now look out over what remains. There is a large clearing. The jungle has not fully reclaimed this place because it is so tainted.
Mm-hmm.
But there, you can see you're kind of at the perimeter of a circular kind of camp. It looks like there used to be some cabins and some tents that have all been devastated, destroyed. And the smell of it, of rotting wood, rotting vegetation. There's a petroleum stink to the place, and a chemical tang to the air. And although the battle is long since past, you still swear that you could pick up the hint of rotting meat.
Mm-hmm.
The center of the camp is, kind of a vast, almost a pool of mud. And you see beyond that, on the opposite side, on the far end of the camp, there is one. It's scorched with fire, but there still is one watchtower standing. That looks, and you swear that you can see leading toward that watchtower. There's a downed cabin over here where some timbers could be used, and other downed tree in another place where you're pretty sure that you could cross through the big mud field on kind of the edge but still in it and get across the camp to that watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
Just slightly left of the center of the camp.
I'll make my way towards it.
Okay.
Do you need me to do any acrobatics?
As you make your way toward it, there is you're catching. There's a little whispers that are reaching your ear. Just barely audible, even to your wolf hearing. It's like voices. You can't quite make out the words. Some of them are in Portuguese. You think it's at least it has the impression. You can't make out quite the words, and others sound like it's in the high tongue of the Gru.
Mm-hmm.
And others are in other languages, perhaps, that it's just hard to make out.
Right.
But you do make one that says, "Go to the center." Another, "Take the bridges."
Mm.
Another, "Go back." Another, "Find us."
Mm.
They begin a little more clarity as you step on the first bit of timber that leads out toward that area.
I suppose, when the dead is talking, you better listen. So, I'll make my way towards the center.
Okay, you're starting to make your way there. You're growing increasingly disoriented as you do. Maybe it's those whispers. Maybe it's the unsteadiness of the ground. But I would like you to give me a wits plus enigmas. In this case, difficulty 8.
Fucking finally, I got good rolls. Can I add cool-headed to this?
Yes, actually, that would be very appropriate.
All right, so that would make it 6.
Okay. As you're following the whisper, the voice, it's almost like they're in different places. But as you're following what seems like the whisper beckoning you to the bridges and the logs and so on, as you're getting dizzier as you go, and the mud is sucking at the wood you're standing on. As you're reaching forward a paw tentatively, you pull it back just as you're about to step across to another place, and you shake your head and realize that the downed tree you were about to climb onto isn't actually there. It's almost like a mirage is just phased. And wait, there's nothing there. There's just the mud, which is bubbling. And there's almost like a slow current in it. That voice was leading you into that. But now,
I look towards it.
And you can see now, that trail you've been following, most of it isn't really there. matter of fact, another shake of your head, and the watchtower is actually completely collapsed. There's only a few beams left standing. But now you're
As
standing in this
the
thing with, well, it's not steady, but it's not sinking actively at the moment either.
but it's not something I want to rely on for much longer. That said, it kind of comes to mind. So this is what they're telling me. This is what they're talking about. This is how so many poor fools have died here. Investigators, the curious, the treasure hunting, so on and so forth, they always pass. Spirits of the dead leading them towards a giant bane in the ground that sucks them up only for them to never return. This is the hate. Clever, but frightening. A part of me wants to grab a rock and throw it into the pit, but that'd be playing with fire. So I look around me,
Mm-hmm.
and do I get a true glimpse of the area? Is my head clear enough to see past the illusions, or
You think so.
I'd like to think so.
So yes, you now look out over the remains of Ranch Apocalypse. You're now kind of a third of the way in. The great center of it, which you're kind of on the edge of, is a vast, well, not that vast, but it's a large, gaping pit of sludge and oil and foulness. It's slowly churning in a current, an occasional bubble. And you see occasionally there's like a bit of movement as if something almost broke the surface and then sank back down below again. And you think you get it feels like you can see, it's almost like something pushes up as if trying to push out and can't make it out.
Damn, that's sad. Do I recognize this as the Great Bane that they were telling me about, that is recorded in the documents?
It might be, or it might be the physical space where the Bane is occupying the other side. It's hard to tell. With how thin the gauntlet is here, is there a difference?
Not really.
It might be manifested, and this might be its physical form, or it might simply be the physical approximation of the space where the Bane and the Umbra resides. Either way, you can feel that here the taint of the worm is oppressive. The foulness is sticking to your fur in a way that the mud couldn't after the rain.
It's almost like a blanket just overwhelming the area, but not so comfy.
Right. And the voices are still there. They're harder to make out now that the illusion is past, but they're still there.
Tempting me.
Some are begging for something. Some are calling out in rage. Others are weeping. It's just about the same volume as the rain, but there absolutely are voices here.
I have an idea.
You
If I were
go for it.
to take a quick minute,
Mm-hmm.
what I like to call a micro meditation, would I be able to use, what's it called? Wisdom of the Ancient Ways?
Wisdom of the
along
ancient
with like
ways.
my spirit heritage. I just want to see if I can tap into an ancestor of mine.
You're trying to contact your ancestors. Okay. Well, you do have that gift of wisdom of the ancient ways. You can meditate for a short time. Now, I will raise the difficulty. Now, the default difficulty would be 9 minus 1 for each point of ancestors you have. What is your ancestors again?
My ancestors is.
And I know you have spirit heritage ancestors as well.
Yep. Ancestors. Where is that?
It's one of your backgrounds.
I have 3 in ancestors, and I have 2 in spirit heritage.
Okay. So what I'll do with this is the difficulty would be 9 normally. I'll subtract 3 for your ancestors and another 1 for the spirit heritage. So that would be down to 5. But with the nature of this place, it is hard to get in sync, so I'll raise it slightly to a 7.
Okay.
And roll your gnosis for that. The number of successes will determine how detailed and exact the answers you receive will be.
I just want to get an image of the past.
Okay.
7, you said?
Actually, you know what? You have spirit heritage 2. I'll say 6.
6. Okay.
So that helps penetrate the thickness of the obstruction, the spiritual obstruction in the area.
Also needs a willpower.
Okay. Roll
So
it.
it should be 1 on all now. That's 4 successes.
4 successes. Okay, you feel as that brief meditation there on that unsteady wooden platform on which you're standing, creaking and rotten. You are able somehow to get back to that center, get back to that place where you can feel the ancestors. You are here close to where your own ancestors had lived. And you could feel the touch of their fingers just at the base of your skull and on your shoulder as those who've gone before answer your call. So what precisely are what deep memories are you trying to call up?
This is a hellscape, like none other I've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
But can I really truly understand what she wants me to see without seeing?
Okay.
Show me.
You want to see the battle?
Show me what happened here.
Okay. As Gabriel meditates, for a moment, everything ripples and flickers. And where there were barely recognizable ruins of cabins and tents, you see like a totem pole like rise out of what's mud now into the center space where a shrine for various patron spirits once stood. You see the cabins whole. You see a fire in the middle as a number of Garou, presumably they're Garou, are arguing. You can't quite make out what they say, but they're clearly having a dispute. And others are milling about. It's early in the morning. And in the center, there is a towering grade and a guru whose face and body are crisscrossed with almost more scars than unscarred flesh, wearing a harness, armor across his chest. And it's not a modern bulletproof vest. It's steel plate with bits of chainmail and shoulder plates with spikes. And he's wearing gauntlets of steel and glyphs carved into the plate, and some scars that are in the shapes of. You make out at least one that looks like the Get a Fenris glyph.
Mm.
This could be nobody other than Gogol Fangs-First,
Mm.
who looks in this moment, though you're aware that at the time they said he was more than 70 years old when these events occurred. He still is strong and fierce and straight-shouldered and backed. Though his face is weathered and leathery from years of warfare and the elements, those eyes are still clear and strong and fierce.
Mm-hmm.
And he's snarling in the face of someone else who is kind of blanching back before him. And then you see the ground erupts. There's like bubbling as it surges upward. And you see some kind of oil comes out of the ground as the various guru look around in astonishment. And they start calling. You can't quite make out the sound so well, but you can see and you can feel the sounds almost. And some gurus are stumbling out of their tents as they smell this. And then there's a thwomp. A projectile falls on the camp. Fire. The place catches alight. There's machine gun fire. You see Guru scrambling. You can see a Gogol Fangs-First marshaling, trying to gather his ragtag forces together to defend themselves as the flames and the oil and the artillery come in. You can see what must be black spiral dancers breaking through the palisade, and men in uniforms following after, and enormous femori and beasts of the jungle and banes. The battle, it's not quite like watching it like a movie. It flickers in moments. It's more like a series of impressions. It's not like you can catch every event that happened, but it's more the idea, the understanding. You see one of the guru covered in burning oil, his arm burning, fighting to hold off an enormous fomor, and biting it in the throat. And as the two of them sink together into a pool of mud that is arising beneath them and surging upward. And then all is fire and blood and corruption. Guru fall. Some manage to scramble to safety. Many do not. And the land itself begins to devour those that are not swift enough and pull them down into itself. And it erupts almost like a hill, and like a bubble pops, a mouth opens. And you see Fangs-First standing with his spike gauntlets covered in blood, his whole body covered in blood with a dozen and more wounds. And Fomori and other monsters in a heap around him, standing on those to stay out of the mud. He sees that rising hill, and for a moment he stands alone, as all have either escaped or fallen. He howls as the ground continues to rise up in front of him. And he pulls from his belt grenades, pops a pin with each finger, and leaps toward the mouth, howling for what's left to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the last that you see. As Fangs-First leaps into the maw of this thing with multiple live hand grenades in his claws. And then the general returns.
Tragic. I think that moment, being able to really truly understand what happened here. I mean, not getting the full story. I know nobody's names except for Google. Google. But it's the emotion, the feeling that like these scenes kind of convey to me, convey to Gabriel specifically. It's the panic, the disarray, going from unawares to in battle, fighting creatures larger than life, black spiral dancers, and then seeing a mouth grow from the ground as it consumes everything around it, greedily, gluttonously. The sacrifice of Gogol at the end. Though Michael understands that was pretty badass, not gonna lie. Very Doom Marine. I'm all for it. I'm all like, damn, he went out styling. Gabriel's like, he takes something more from it.
Mm-hmm.
He takes how he came into this recklessly in search of honor, and he went out recklessly. Whether he got honor from his sacrifice, hoping that it would make a difference, when in fact it did not, leaving the Amazon in worse condition than it started, and dying with grenades against a creature that could not be tamed. It's definitely a message. And now he and the rest of the world has to play Gabriel and the rest of the world has to play cleanup for somebody else's war. It's awful. It's an awful feeling to see how powerful it is, to see how it just consumed everything in sight. It's an awful feeling to know that so many died in just a brief moment. That scene really lingers in him when he sees that flash of a Fomori and a werewolf, or one of the Garu, half consumed by the earth itself, and yet they're still fighting. What does that mean? You're both destined for doom if you don't escape, yet you still have your fangs into one another. Why? I mean, he knows why, but it's hard to look at either way. And that's war. That's truly what it is. It's just life seeking life. Even if the end result is going to be the same. So that said, I think this huge mud pit is just a symbol of everything that's gone wrong, of everything that's been bothering him over the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
It's a symbol of everything because it is exactly what he hates. It is unsurmountable. It creates a sense of futility in not just him but people everywhere. It's a mess that's like mud, hard to get out. It's alive and wriggling and writhing, representing all the evils in the world. a representation of past atrocities and atrocities yet to happen. At the end of his journey through the trip through the Amazon, this one hits the most because it is the most physical manifestation of everything he's hated. It's futility manifest. But there is something in this. And it's the one good thing he took away from Gogol. Though Gogol died accomplishing nothing by jumping into its maw, he at least tried. So now Gabe looks at this and he wonders, even though I'll die, is it better for me to try than to not at all? Should I work towards cleanup for the sake of apologizing for the mistakes of those past? Even though I know that I might not accomplish anything in my lifetime. But at the end of the day, something has to be done. So he looks at this, and he's very keenly aware that the wood under him can break at any second. Very keenly aware of this. Yet for some reason, he just doesn't. He wants to keep this scene engraved in his head just for a moment longer. He takes the willing risk. He thanks his ancestors for showing him the truth. And then he turns his back on the garbage as he ponders on who should be the cleanup crew. Carefully, he's going to chart his way out, avoiding any steps into the mud.
Okay. He's able to make his way carefully out. He finds, when he gets back to the fence, he finds the jaguar waiting. She's crouched down and covered behind a branch, behind a tree, watching. But she's clearly been able to see you. At least she's been watching you for quite some time. She's currently in her cat form, probably to be more stealthy. But still has the necklace and the other ornaments that she wears. And she shifts into the whatever you've not heard the term, whatever their equivalent to the glabro is.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that familiar with the Bastet.
Mm-hmm.
So, dreams of harmony, she says. What did it cost?
Everything.
What now will you do?
Its one saving grace is that it's physical. This is an entity. This isn't a cultural normative that I have to combat. This is alive. This is real. And that means it can be killed.
The Great Bane?
Maybe not in my lifetime, but it can be killed. It can be sealed away, it can be touched, it can be punched. And if I could get at least one solid punch on its ugly ass face, then I'll have done my life of due diligence.
she says.
We should. And thank you for bringing me here.
She inclines her head and shifts back into her jaguar form.
I shift into my lupus form.
And the two of you carefully thread your way out, evading more things in the rainforest. Although the Great Bane either did not choose to emerge, or was asleep, or was quiescent in the Umbra is not clear, but although it doesn't come directly, there still are things that do not make it easy to leave that place. And yet, the two of you do. And you can feel still lingering some of the fear and pain and confusion of the Gru that were there at the camp at one time, the hope that brought some of them there. There's still a lingering touch of the ancestors on you. You can feel regret and sorrow. And you get a bit of a memory. Perhaps it was something that somebody said, or perhaps it's just an impression. It's hard to tell. You hear as if someone says, "I didn't want to break it. I just wanted to make a difference." And then another thought comes to your mind. Not all healing is here. When that thought comes to your mind, you see there is in one of a fallen stone, there are some Arnharm carvings, the Guru claw glyphs. And the marker they're on is half submerged in water and muck, but there's still a little bit of it there. And it's linked glyphs, which is either a legend or a story, or almost like a prayer. It can vary, but it's not just a series of glyphs. It's a lengthy stack of interlinked ones. And as your claw like touches, and you can see they're weathered, but you can make out. You think at the top there's the spiral of the worm. And there's the 4 marks of the Guru. The glyph of the Bastet and the Mokale. There's a crescent moon. What you think might be a broken spear. And a large glyph that's like a tree with roots above and below. And the Umbra, the mark of the Umbra. And one that you think means the world before. The world before the lands were broken apart. What the human scientists you call supercontinents or Pangaea various other terms. But the world before. That's kind of the last sight you have of Ranch Apocalypse as you leave. But that thought lingers as you see that not all healing is here. And that is his last sight of Ranch Apocalypse.
Try to make a difference. Not all healing is here. I guess I'm gonna be busy. I already feel the ulcer in my stomach. I have a flight to take, huh?
Perhaps. So, what then for Gabriel over the next couple of days? Or
I'd like to
perhaps
thank my...
let's redirect slightly. What next when he and Eileen have gotten clear of the area of greatest hazard, once they've gotten away from the ranch, have gotten back toward the main river and back headed toward Manaus, I imagine she's going to skirt away, go a different route to avoid the DFG headquarters.
Sure. As soon as we're safe and we have a moment to catch our breaths,
Mm-hmm.
I turn back into my Hamid form.
Mm-hmm.
Make it easier to communicate.
When you do that, she matches your movements, and it turns back to the mixed race indigenous woman that you haven't seen much lately, since she's mostly been in cat forms and her krinos for the past better part of a day.
I look at her for a second and I say, "Know any tattoo artists?"
I do.
I have some mistakes to undo.
Let me take you. There is a village.
I owe you a lot, it seems.
Let us both remember what you saw, what you heard.
I couldn't even forget it even if I tried.
But tell me this. In payment, you had a vision, did you not?
I was shown things, yes.
What did you see and what did you learn?
It was sudden. As quick as a wildfire started by a spark. From the very beginning, the ground split open, oil seeped out, people reacted, and from that reaction, that panic, that confusion, came death, came assault.
I don't mean, she says, I don't mean the events, though that is interesting. I mean, what did you learn?
I had to be honest. I learned that it felt almost like a surprise attack. A mouth just appearing in the middle of the ground, consuming everything. They didn't expect it. No one expected it. But an assault timed immediately after seemed like it was coordinated. And just like that, gluttony consumed everything. But I also learned that there is honor in sacrifice. There is glory in sacrifice. There is beauty in futility, and futility in beauty.
You are a guru. She says.
And you are a bastard.
May you not meet the fate that they did.
I don't plan on it.
May you be wiser than they.
I don't plan on it. Maybe. I look at her for a second. One day, I should learn to think more like a cat.
Yes, you should.
But I'm not there yet. But I assume the more I talk to you, the more I'll figure that out.
We will have opportunities in the next few days. Are you now returning to California?
If I'm going to accomplish what I want to, then I have to take care of some things over there first.
And then?
Once I feel everything is... Once I can sleep comfortably, knowing my allies are safe, then I'll return here and work on whatever I can to bring this beautiful Amazon, my home, your home, to where it should be.
Very well. We have a tattoo artist to find.
Touch my the faint lines on my cheek. I say we certainly do.
Okay. We'll draw the curtain on that sequence. So Gabriel is he gonna like re-establish the tattoos that have been fading?
Yeah.
Is that what he's doing?
Reestablish them.
Mm-hmm.
Have them travel down his neck,
Mm-hmm.
down his shoulders, down towards the center of his palm, or on the back of each of his palms, or the back of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
There were markings on that story, right?
Yes. No, the stone?
Yeah, the stone.
Yeah.
One was a broken spear,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was the Umbra,
Yes.
right? I like that. The symbol for the broken spear on my left,
Mm-hmm.
and the symbol for the Umbra on my right.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Out of curiosity, what does he make of that? And what does he do with the necklace?
He's gonna wear it.
Okay.
I don't think he's ever gonna take it off.
Okay.
But I think knowing he knows something special about it,
Mm-hmm.
he knows that there's something in it, but it's in pain right now, and he doesn't want to put burden on it.
Okay. Now,
I think the first thing he does, continue,
go for it.
is periodically he's gonna feed it a gnosis.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna overburden himself, so he's not gonna drain himself to zero, but he's gonna periodically feed it a gnosis. And once he feels like it's healthy enough to maybe communicate with, I think what he wants to do, what I want to do, is speak to it every now and again.
Okay.
I don't expect anything back. In fact, I don't expect it to communicate to it, but just to hear it, just for it to hear my voice, to tell it about my day, about the things I've seen, about my goals, my dreams. just to have something on the other side. And I think a big reason for that, not for any metagaming purposes, is just because it lived there. He doesn't know who it was, what it was, but it went through it.
Mm.
And as far as he's concerned, healing isn't always there.
Okay.
Healing is in a lot of places. Healing is in the journey. It's in the things you go through, the people you see, the people you help, the people who help you. Nothing is irredeemable.
Mhm.
We all just want to make a difference. And for a fetish who's been there for God knows how long, one of the worst places on earth,
Mhm.
hell on earth is how you would describe it. Sometimes you just need to feel not alone. And though a lot of Guru might look at it as a tool,
Mhm.
he looks at it as a spirit contained within something. But a spirit is still a spirit.
Okay.
And maybe he just wants a backboard to hear his thoughts.
We will talk more about the fetish and the spirit within it a little bit later.
Sure.
You and I will have plenty to talk about after this sequence ends.
To be completely honest, he doesn't even need to use it. He just likes having it. Just like how having Nyasano brings him memories of a friend long gone. A necklace brings him very important memories of a place he once saw.
Well, it's a devotional object. Apart from their practical utility, fetishes are devotional objects.
Right.
Okay. So that will be a wrap for that story sequence. Let's talk for a moment after. So how did that feel for you? That story bit there.
You know what? I will say, it's a bittersweet ending for him.
Mm.
I feel like for the longest time, as I've had Gabriel as my character, one of the things I've always struggled with is finding out from his perspective who he is. And I say this because though I have a voice for him, though I have a personality for him, and though I can often put myself into his thoughts, I like to think of that as incomplete. Because I always think to myself, the way I wrote him as a character was a individual who struggles to come to terms with his identity. You know, he's done a lot of things that weren't his intention. I mean, he didn't become a professor for no reason. That was his once upon a time his dream. And yet now he hasn't gone to lecture in so many years because he has so many weeks, sorry, because he has murdering to do. And though you can always shrug that off and say, oh, but they were just black spiral dancers, or they were just crooked politicians, or they were just this and that and this and that. It's hard to reconcile that. And he just kept getting promoted. He just kept surviving, whereas allies kept dying. And how do you feel after that? If you're a guru, you might think, oh, that's pride, that's honor. Like that's every scar you have on your body is a story to be told, and that's important. Someone can go share your renown.
Your soul. It's also a scar in your soul at times.
It is. It very much is. They do know that. But him coming to terms with that is like knowing versus coming to experiencing is very different. And he never really felt at home with anything, any of it. So as you have like his pack mates, once upon a time his ally getting absolutely shot the heck and back.
That was
all these things. All these things are happening to him so fast. I just cannot help but have him wonder: is this my life? Am I never gonna go back to being an actual teacher? Am I never gonna have a moment where I can just be myself?
Yeah, there's an interesting irony there in that thought because his guru rank, the athro, is the high tongue word for teacher.
right? But it's a bitter irony
Yeah.
because, like, what he wants is to see his students contribute to the world and survive and make their names as anthropologists. But now he's training the next generation. Like, in his mind, his job from now on is be training the next generation to go out and fight. He's a teacher, but he's also just as bad as Gogol in a way. He's sending adolescents to die.
Heck, Benda's daughter, Chrissy, who's 11.
Yes, exactly. It's wrong. He doesn't agree with it. He feels conflicted about it.
And the
Maybe that's the
dogs.
Ragabash in him. Oh god, it's so bad. But maybe it's the Ragabash in him, but something about everything just is overwhelming him. And then we just went through a war where an entire sept just died. You know what I mean?
You guys managed to save maybe half of the sept. But yeah, the sept of the friendly path no longer exists.
Right? So it's kind of like, He doesn't know how to feel about a lot of things. And so that's why I say this was a bittersweet ending for him, because coming to Brazil was an idea for him to get back to his roots and maybe find out, again, who he is. But now he knows who he is to some extent. Someone who cares too much. That's his problem. That's who he is. He's trying to latch onto that idea of I'm just a guy, and that's all I ever will be. And I'm just a guy who is able to see things that other people can't see. I'm just a guy who can fight things that other people don't believe in. I'm just a guy who saw the most gluttonous sin on mankind, on hell on earth, and saw how it happened, what happened, when it happened, and what it means.
So how much longer would you say he stays in Brazil?
You know, I don't think I was lying when I said I wanted him to learn how to think like a cat. Which is gonna be weird, but
Like, what's
he
gonna
holds
do?
no allegiance to that.
What's he gonna do? I'm curious what you mean.
The Bastet are very much, as far as I understand them, a tribe of cunning, of intelligence. A tribe that thinks before they jump in. Though they have their claws, you know, they hold on tightly to their secrets.
They are
And
patient.
they are patient. This is very true. And the Garu are very not.
Now, how do you intend to learn to think like a cat?
One thing she does very well that Gabe doesn't is she learns to ask questions. She never volunteers, she asks. She waits for what they say, and based on what they say, she responds accordingly. But she is never oversharing.
No, she does not blather.
But she learns. And she like baits it out of people. But then what matters is that it is cunning. It is very much in a way greedy and selfish, but it is also like as a character, it's just about, you know, thinking about the situation at hand, learning to be better, learning from mistakes, learning to be better, and using that greedy hunger for knowledge to your advantage. Gabriel's a smart guy, but he has no self-confidence, and that's why she can take him by the nose and throw him around. That's why it's funny to me.
For days.
Yeah, so she can lead him by the nose and steal whatever she wants from him, really, like in terms of intelligence, and knowledge, because he'll volunteer because he doesn't like the awkward silences. So
does he intend to stay with her for a while?
a week.
Okay. He wants to stay down there in Brazil for a week, get the tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then yeah, like try to get an idea for how she thinks. I think if I ever want to play Gabriel again, like when we get back to the St. Elmo's Fire.
Mhm.
I want him to try to incorporate a little bit of what he learns from her into his personality.
So he's.
I don't think he's gonna be.
Go ahead.
I don't think he's gonna be anything less of a self anxiety ridden person. That's just not gonna go away. But I would like him to start being a little bit more like an utena, like a cat.
Well, the horned serpent. He also has cat-like features.
Exactly. I can tell. Like she's very much more like an utena than Gabe is. And that's what I want. I want him to learn to be more of who he is in his culture and so on and so forth. And less about jumping into the fray for honor and victory, and more about being patient, doing the right thing, and winning the long battle.
Okay. Alright, so I think I'll stop the recording.